Hello everybody, and welcome back to my super messy desk. In fact, it may look exactly as messy and in exactly the same ways as a video that I uploaded a couple of weeks ago about Instagram borders. Some of you may remember that, and well, that was filmed about 20 minutes ago, which is why the desk looks exactly the same. I needed this microphone, so I thought I'd film them both at the same time. It's got a bit colder since then, so I put a jumper and a hat on, but you didn't need to know any of that. This video is sponsored by Lumix, and I'm very pleased to say that this is an incredibly exciting day today because about 2 hours ago the postman came and delivered this, my G90, which I've been very excited about for a long period of time. I filmed an overview video about this camera in Sri Lanka earlier this year, and ever since I've been very excited about the prospect of using this to vlog. So from now on, my vlogs will come to you from this. So a big thanks to Lumix for making awesome still cameras, but also brilliant cameras for vlogging too. Right then, some images that I love. Now this is episode 1 of what I intend to be a series of various videos of me talking about images that I absolutely love. Sometimes it might just be one photo, other times like today it'll be several photos, and I plan to just talk about what it is that drew me to them and why I love them. And that's the point of this video, that's the point of this series. So we'll see how we go. If you've got any tweaks that you'd like to see to this series as it progresses, do let me know. But in the meantime, let's delve into some images, shall we? Right then, so this first image is from Simone Bramante. I've got absolutely no idea if I'm saying that right or not, but fingers crossed. Now I love this photo for a couple of reasons. The first is that it was taken in Katoomba in the Blue Mountains in Australia, according to Simone's Instagram, and that's an area that I love. I spent a lot of time there, and I think this photo does a brilliant job of capturing what it feels like there. But the second reason I love it is I think it does a brilliant job. In fact, I think I'll talk to you on this. The second reason I love this photo is I think it does such a good job of encapsulating what I've tried to speak about quite a bit on this channel before, which is story. And I think I've tried to explain story in photography before as basically, do you have any questions about the image? In this image, as well as lots of the images that I'm going to show you, I have lots of questions about, like, where is that motorcyclist going? Where have they been? Like, how is their helmet perfectly matched to the colour of the leaves? Is that a Photoshop thing or is that a real thing? If it's a real thing, it's magnificent. And all that together basically means that I love this photo. Next up is this photo from Alex Stroll, taken in Chamonix in France, I believe. And the reason that I love this photo so much is that it breaks conventions. It breaks lots of conventions. So typically when you've got a scene like this, I see a lot in photography when you've got a completely blue, detailless sky. A lot of the time the temptation as photographers is to zoom in and just get all the detail of the mountain and just skip the sky. But this image is all about adventure, as you can see from the two little people who are hiking along in a kind of playful manner. And by having all that sky and the reflection at the bottom of the image, you get loads of space, absolutely bags of space. And space and exploration is what adventure is all about. So this does a brilliant job of setting up what the subjects are doing, I think. It would have been so easy to go tighter to the mountain, but by not doing so, you get the sort of same sense of freedom that you feel the subjects are feeling, and I love that. This next photo from Chris Burkard, again one of my favourite photographers, is another one that I absolutely love. And the reason that I love this image is balance. 2 counts of balance. The first count of balance is you've got all this kind of really messy, full of scree, full of green and yellow colour rock, this quite harsh rock. And that's balanced by the soft colours in the water and the clouds. So I absolutely love that. The second count of balance is that you've got what is quite a dramatic, remote, harsh landscape, and that's balanced perfectly by this tiny little boat that looks like it'd be much more at home on like a pond or a nice tiny little lake than it does in an absolutely giant, again, as I said, quite dramatic fjord. And I just love that. That's absolutely perfect. That is the perfect kind of boat. That is the perfect subject for a scene like that, to completely balance and neutralise the scene. And I just, mwah, great work. This one from Hans Becker, wow, it's polar bears. How can you not like that photo? Now clearly this photo has got a lot going for it, but I would argue what it's got going for it most is colour. Now you might not expect that because on the surface you look at it and it's basically a black and white image. There's nothing really colourful about it. But if I was to remove the colour from this image, like so, all of a sudden it completely changes the photo. The photo loses life it loses a sense of being. But if I just move the colour back, even though it's subtle, I feel like I'm there with those bears. And I mean, it's just a phenomenal photo. And it's a perfect example of why you don't need to bring down the highlights all the time in order to end up with a good image. You don't need tons of dynamic range to be able to tell a story. And again, I'm wondering what those bears are thinking. And if they're about to jump in the water and find fish, or I don't know what polar bears do, but I love it. Again, polar bear. My favourite thing about this photo isn't that Benjamin Hardman, who took this photo, felt the need to bring down all the highlights or anything like that. Again, I love the negative space. My favourite thing about this photo is the shoreline. The detail in the shoreline of the snow is just so crisp and perfect, and yeah, big fan of that. I mean, again, obviously I'm wondering what the bear's thinking and whether he'd be thinking about eating the camera or the photographer, but I could look at that photo for hours. This one I love purely on the basis that the exposure is perfect for my eye. It would have been really tempting to drag the shadows down and to make these trees or the shadows of the trees really, really dark, but not doing that just to my eye looks really nice and soft and warm, and well, I just quite like to be there, I think. But yeah, I looked at this image for a long time when I first found it as well. This next one, which I think is the second to last one I'm going to show you, if you're getting bored, you may be getting bored. But this, basically, I think a couple of weeks ago I made fun of the fact that lots of people take photos in forests from drones and that it's all getting a bit cliche. But typically a lot of the time those photos are taken from like looking right down, and so you only really get a 2D image. This one, by not looking straight down and by sort of looking at a 45-degree angle down, you get a brilliant sense of 3D because the trees are popping up and you can't see all the road as a consequence, and I think it looks just, yeah, I think it looks really original because of that, and it's probably not an original composition, but I've not seen too many photos like that, and I think the winding road and not being able to see all of it is intriguing. And finally, I think this again was taken by Chris Burkard, but I absolutely love it because once again it's just a perfect example of story in a photo. I mean, what is that surfer thinking? Are they excited? Are they nervous? I'd be pretty nervous, to be honest. I mean, that water is obviously not warm and that wave is obviously quite big. So, no, not for me. And it may well be sunset as well. It might be about to go dark, which, no, not for me. But the photo is very much for me. Yeah, so some images that I've seen recently and loved recently, and I'll do another one of those soon when I've seen and loved some more images. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it too. And if you did, if you wouldn't mind subscribing and belling and all that other stuff to my channel, that would be great. I don't know if subscription actually does anything on YouTube anymore, to be honest, but I'll tell you what it does do. It makes me feel like I'm enough. Yeah, you don't have to, like, if you want, but if you don't, it's fine. I'll see you next time.